Hello everyone, this is GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us as always is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
How you doing, Kyle?
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And Michael Damiani.
Hi, Kyle.
You ruined it.
I always sound like this, though.
I already sound like
You always have a smooth voice.
We were all doing Damiani impressions, right?
Yeah. I get comments about like people getting annoyed by the opening, so you gotta try different stuff. We'll see what sticks.
I think that's gonna set the tone for the whole episode now.
We still have the
We
music
just
that's
need
like
to,
bonk, 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 bonk.
We just need to keep increasing the volume until we blow out people's eardrums, and then they'll be happy.
Our shows are quiet. That's all true.
You know, I actually
is
got
true.
called out on Let's All Go to the Trailers for making the intro to the trailers too loud.
Oh.
And I loved it because I never actually get, like I edit so much stuff for the site and I never actually get editing notes.
Yeah.
And I loved that. It's like, wow, I'm gonna never forget that, you know? Next episode's gonna be much more even. It's fun to like punch right at the beginning of a trailer. It's tempting.
Yeah, I get that. And
Right after a transition, but I was just too much.
I mean, the proper way to do audio is to care about every second. And for a show like this, or Let's All Go to the Trailers.
Proper doesn't even come into it.
That's
I mean,
so-
proper is like
yeah,
a bad
yeah,
word. You just strike that word from the
That's, oh my gosh.
GT time vocabulary.
Just balancing out and everything. I can't, it's so hard for me to appreciate. But I'm glad you get editing notes.
Yeah.
If you have any editing
deserve
notes,
them.
send them straight to Brandon Jones.
Anything. Doesn't have to be GT related.
So let's do some corrections. Let's do some corrections and clarifications. You can begin that music now. We got a few. This whole season of Once Upon a Time on ABC is going to be Frozen themed.
How is that? Is that a clarification?
Yeah, I said one episode. I thought it was just the series premiere.
Oh,
No,
I didn't know to correct
that's
you
going
on that.
all season long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why? You're not going to cast those women and build those costumes and have them come in for one episode? No.
You would, because you're ruining Frozen. What are you? Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't care about either one of those.
You're
things
ruining
to be
Frozen?
ruined.
Yeah, I don't know. How are you? So I've not seen Frozen, but people seem to love Frozen.
You've not seen Frozen, but you're so worried about it.
You're ruining something you haven't seen?
My niece loves Frozen. I know she loves Frozen.
So you're ruining your niece?
No,
So your niece is going to be
They're ruining
ruined?
something my niece loves.
I don't think it's going to ruin it for your niece.
I don't.
I think your
You're
niece
right.
is
She's not
having
aware
a
of
heart
what
attack right now.
Once
She's so
Upon
excited.
a Time is. No, she doesn't even know what that is. Little Big Planet 3, also on PlayStation 3. That is not a next-gen only game.
Oh,
Eighth
did you imply
channel.
that it was?
I did. I thought it was.
Oh,
You all knew it was cross-gen.
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't catch that. That was, yeah.
So you're saying you would have corrected me live.
We need to correct this guy more often. Is the lesson we're learning here. Wow.
Nah, one of them's
I
gotta
just
be my
assume
mistake,
things.
though, probably.
We have a clarification. Oh, why? What mistake did you make?
When I was I went too far in my sentence about 1080p, saying that like hardly any games were 1080p.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You want to
Yeah,
cover that
but
correction?
that was like I should have stopped at PS3 because like majority of PS4 games.
the
are actually
majority
doing-
of PS4 games are 1080p. That's
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So the dream of 1080p is still alive on PS4 is what you're saying.
For now. We'll see once they start wanting to tax the hardware more, if they start dropping it down more often.
Next was we had this one's a clarification. We talked a lot about the Drive Club servers and how they seemed ill prepared because the game is still at this point not free. The free version is not available.
Well, not only that, but it's still very
a lot of the features
pretty
were
much
pulled
impossible to get. Yeah, what you're supposed to be getting out of the game if you bought it.
So game director Paul Rashinsky on Twitter said, this is a quote, I'll just read it directly. "We've got no limits to the amount of servers or the quality of hardware. It's purely down to the server code having some bugs." This is a server code issue, not amount of servers, which kind of lent well to what Brandon was talking about how like we don't know. We don't know what we're doing.
Well, there's no way to know. Kyle, you've done a bit of theater in your day.
Yeah.
You've gone up and performed in front of an audience.
Yes.
Rehearsing a show and performing in front of an audience are two totally different things.
Sure.
And there's no way to know, there's no way to test how you can invite like, hey, we're going to do a preview, you 5 friends come over, and they all sit in the front row and clap. And like, that in no way is going to prepare you for what it's like to stand on a stage with lights on you in front of like 500, 1,000 people. The only way to do that is just to do it. And so if you get out there and you decide, oh, I have anxiety attacks when I do this, you wouldn't like blame that person like you should have had a test with 1,000 people earlier to know that that was going to happen. So like there might be a weird analogy, but like there's no way to know until you get to that big show.
Yeah.
How many people are going to show up, how the code that you built is going to handle it. Like
It's a weird analogy, but I love it.
okay.
Yeah.
Final corrections. We didn't end the corrections music at the appropriate moment, so let's get it right this week. Corrections end now. Oh, I hope we got that. They kept going beyond when I cut it off. It's just like we're still having that goofy music. Shouldn't have picked such a goofy song for corrections, but that's how it is. It's got to be
Can't go back
insulting
now.
to us. Yeah. Let's talk about news. Everyone ready to talk about news?
Yeah.
PlayStation TV
Oh.
has launched. Generally underwhelming. And PSP games are getting pulled from it. There are PSP games you can't
Yeah.
play.
I've been looking forward to this thing for a long time because we've not been able to capture Vita games. But it doesn't seem that this is necessarily going to be the solution to that problem, depending on the game.
Yeah. It still has HDCP. Damiani, you've probably spent the most time with it so far.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you pay half price for a Vita, you get half the functionality in games, right?
Great quote. Excellent. You're coming out hot today.
I was like Bloodworth. I was really excited for this, not only because we finally could do proper reviews of Vita games with actual direct feed, but I could play them at home on my TV. I don't like playing portable games in my home on handhelds. I loved like when Nintendo did like the Game Boy player and Super Game Boy before that to play on my TV. When I'm at home sitting down, I want to play them on my TV screen. So it's like, all right, here we go. Like I don't own a Vita yet. I've been waiting for that HDMI out or video out version because they did it with PSP eventually. It's like they got to do it with Vita. They're going to see the error of their way and they're going to do it. Didn't happen. Here's PlayStation TV. And I was like, this is going to be it. And now learning that the HDCP is still there. We knew it was in there in the Japanese version, so it wasn't a complete shock. I just thought, just like the PS4, they would have removed it by now due to all like the backlash to it.
Right.
And if they're going to reverse it on PS4, they definitely going to reverse it on like the Vita firmware. Like, come on, like that's like, nope, not happening. And then like I think it was pretty obvious that games that had excessive gyro controls, touch controls, or camera functionality weren't going to work with the Vita. But maybe the DualShock 4 could, the touch bar, sensor bar, or whatever the heck, the touch pad, sorry. If it has that, maybe those games could work with that. And we tried it out and they weren't working. So maybe a firmware update could fix that. But just the lack of games that you can play on it right now, and the fact that it has HDCP, so fans who have been wanting to like stream games on this, like, yeah, we're going to finally get to do Vita games. I'm going to stream this. They have to go through unsavory means to bypass that.
You know what's kind of funny is like I get HDCP sort of when it comes down to we don't want people just ripping Blu-rays. You can't play movies on a Vita, right?
Well,
yeah, you
it's the Netflix and like the streaming services.
But
They
Netflix
don't
doesn't
want
even
to.
work on PlayStation TV.
Are you sure about that?
I'm fairly sure about that. I think that's a huge issue. That's a big
got a
drawback. People
correction
are,
But it's
Yeah.
okay. But it's meant to stream content, so it's going to and you use PlayStation 4 remote. Thought you could play stuff.
so
I
you're
thought
using
you could
your
play
PS4 to play
I think there's
Netflix?
Yeah. We didn't get this. This is why we might have corrections later. Is because we didn't get this to work. We couldn't sync up our PS4 and our PlayStation TV correctly. It wouldn't do. You could do either internet search or you can do like a security code, and neither one of those was working for us. So we weren't able to test it out yet. But theoretically, if that does work, I think you can stream content from your PS4 to your PlayStation TV, which then can stream it to another TV. So I don't know. Like Matt Blair seemed really excited that you could like have your PS4 at home, connect your PlayStation TV like here at the office to your PS4 at home over a network connection, and then stream it to a TV so you could like remote play your PS4 games.
At work. That only applies to Matt Blair.
But I mean, a lot of people because how portable the TV is, the PlayStation TV.
Sure.
That's pretty cool. Like it fits in your pocket. You can just
It's
take it
very
with
small.
you. I mean, put the cables in
Yeah.
your travel bag. You can bring it anywhere and do that. But if that functionality isn't like we couldn't test that, we don't know if that works well, or if even that's like how it really works. It could just be local.
It's definitely smaller than your phone.
Oh yeah, it's way smaller than this giant like phone here, and it's lighter than the phone too.
But you got a controller too.
Oh yeah, so the coolest thing about it is it has a USB port and it does work with DualShock 3. So it's nice to play Vita games with a controller for someone like me. Like it's nice to have and playing on a TV rather than having to use. Even if you did a Vita had HDMI out, you'd still be using the Vita, which isn't terrible, but like DualShock 3, I think, is way better than the PlayStation Vita.
Does it work with DualShock 4?
So the DualShock 4 will navigate through the PlayStation Vita home, like the menu, like the firmware menu with all the icons and apps, but we couldn't get it to work in games. Some people were saying it does work, but it wasn't working for us on the games we tried. We tried Persona 4
sounds
Gold.
like it needs a firmware update as well.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about, so like stuff like Valkyria and things like that, are those games playable on a Vita but not on the TV?
So I don't know that. If they're not playable on a Vita, then no one should be shocked that they're not playable on a PlayStation TV. So
Valkyria Chronicles 2 or
Yeah.
3?
2.
It was ripped. They took it off. You cannot play it. That was one of the games that was specifically like, you cannot play this on your PlayStation TV.
Yeah, but I'm
on
wondering,
Vita,
but
like,
can you still play it on
On
the
the actual Vita heart
Oh,
system.
I think you can. That's the weird thing. Is like some games that you can play on Vita, some PlayStation games you can play on Vita.
So
you
like
can't
certain
on-
third parties just didn't like the idea of you blowing that picture up.
Yeah. And it's really funny. I mean, at the end of the article, I don't have that part. Basically, it's the letters A through L have been the first ones ripped. So it's just to be assumed more PSP games will be taken away in the future. They just
Valkyria is
haven't gotten
V.
to them yet. Some particular publishers also, like Konami, wanted a bunch of their games off. And so I guess Sega in that case wanted that one off.
Huh.
So yeah. Individual publishers say, no, we don't want our game to work on PlayStation
But that's
TV.
stupid because you can already do video out on PlayStation Portable and play those games on the TV already.
Right.
Yeah, but
So
I
it makes
think
no sense.
like some stupid technicality makes this thing its own console. Do you know?
Right. Well, maybe because they took Vita out of the name of the show.
Yeah, well, they did take Vita. I guess in Japan it's called PS Vita TV, correct?
I don't know if it actually released that way, but I think so.
Yeah. I mean, is there a way to make this a viable product, or should we ignore it for the rest of our lives? Brandon.
It's like Damiani was saying, like there is a need, like there is an excitement surrounding like some kind of periphery between you and your console, something that you can connect on the go, like some way you can bring all of that stuff with you. I'm hoping that this is not only just like a barrier, but eventually that's what our consoles are going to look like. They're going to be these little tiny things, because I bring consoles back and forth, from home to work. So like I'm not super jazzed that the PS4 and especially the Xbox One is this giant thing I have to like lug around, and every time I like slunk it down and plug cables back in, I'm like, maybe this is the time it's going to
Well, no,
break.
I mean that's what I love about the new systems is that like the idea is so portable that like I can just sign in on whatever box, download my games. Like I don't have to cart hardware around anymore on the next gen systems.
Sony seems to be introducing a lot of things that we think are cooler than they are, and then we get them, and it's upsetting because it's not like a total fail, but it's just like you were saying, like if you did a software update, if you did added these features later
Isn't
on.
it supposed to be able to do PlayStation Now games as well?
It has a PlayStation Now beta on the PlayStation on PSN. There was a
on the TV.
Yes, you
Okay.
could get. So the two things they do is they have a specific category under games where it's PlayStation Vita games for PlayStation TV. So you can't even see games that aren't supported. Like you cannot find Valkyria Chronicles 2 on PSN connected through your PlayStation TV. Like I did a search for it, you can't find Valkyria Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
That's
And-
smart at least.
Yeah,
People
so it
aren't
only
wasting their
lists
money on stuff.
lists content that you can download and play on your PlayStation TV. Though Max thought he saw when we tried to download something, it said it wasn't compatible, but then it was Tokiden, I believe.
Yeah, that
We ended
works.
up getting it, and it
works,
worked
yeah.
fine. And yeah, same thing with games that aren't supported. When you put them in, it actually bothers to install them, and then like let you update them, and then it'll tell you, oh, this isn't supported by this application's not supported by this hardware. So
And you need a Vita memory card, right?
yes, so it has, I believe it has the same pittance of onboard memory, whatever that is to have the firmware on there, I believe.
Great word.
And then you can use the proprietary memory sticks. So
Yeah,
we were
which-
using a 16 gig in there.
Yeah, which you can
Yeah.
inhale. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
So-
that big.
Well, that's what's I guess funny about changing the name to just PlayStation TV is that to save any games, download any games, you need a Vita memory card on your PlayStation TV. There's no PlayStation TV memory card, you know what I mean? And so it is weird. It's a very weird product.
I feel like if they were gonna go for the like take out some of the functionality, so it wasn't like a full-fledged Vita experience, they could have at least let you use your own memory card, like the standard ones, so that you could not have to pay the ridiculous prices for that.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting all the functionality there.
Yeah.
And it's clear, like it has the I don't know it has streaming technology on it. So we had our smart TV out here, and every time I turn on the PlayStation TV, even with the HDMI plugged into the HDMI port 1, it would want to switch over to some other setting where it was like the TV was recognizing the device as like a wireless device. It was trying to connect that way and was overriding the HDMI. I was having like a tug of war battle, like trying to set it up and everything. To the point where you just got like one of our older HD TVs that's not smart, and basically was just using that for the stream because I got fed up with like going back and forth. For people who want that, like it's gonna be perfect. Who like they like love streaming technology, like what is it, Chromecast? Like I think that's what this is going for real. Is it's trying to compete with that type of stuff, but also have a few games on there that you can play as well. So,
Will it compete with Chromecast?
I don't know about here. I don't think it will do as well. I think there's a little bit of excitement about it, but the more that word's getting out that it like doesn't have the functionality people were hoping for, I feel that people either get to like return it or cancel it or just.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with all the compatibility pitfalls, most likely you're gonna be better off just to buy digital games off the store, because otherwise you go to look at a shelf and like, does that game work? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get on my phone and try to search the list. Might as well just buy them from the store rather than even worry about the cards.
You guys remember PSP Go?
Yeah.
Yes.
PSP Go, you could only play digital games on that.
Yeah.
And I think it was a relative failure. Do you see this as maybe just another, hey, we're trying it out. We're trying out Brandon's dream console.
I think that the only reason they really even brought this over though is because there was a warm reaction when they announced it in Japan. It didn't sound like they were really even intending to bring it to the U.S. market.
You're right. The U.S. got hyped when they announced it in Japan. You're absolutely right. That did happen.
So we'll see if that hype actually plays
Translates
out
to
into
sales.
any kind of real-world sales.
Yeah. Probably won't.
Nope. Mine arrived yesterday in the Amazon box, and later this week it's going right back to Amazon. And the
Oh
Amazon
my
box.
gosh.
Not even
hilarious.
opened.
What are you going to write in the, why are you returning this product box?
No, you just say you don't want it. It's not even opened at all. So
You
it's
can
still
just order a
sealed.
thing from Amazon and say, I don't want this anymore?
If it's still sealed, they haven't touched it, they don't care.
Man, Amazon is too nice.
No, it's not.
I'd be so mad. You bought this
They'll
thing
let
for
you
me.
keep things without paying for them if they send it to you on accident.
Oh, man.
They're getting it back like factory sealed and stuff. It'll
That's
be
not
in the
free
same
for them
box.
to ship it and go
No,
through
you
that
pay
process?
for it. Like I paid for Prime, so they're getting my money for shipping. So
Oh,
they end
okay.
up winning because they get the shipping's covered by me, and I have to pay to ship it back. They don't cover that.
I mean, I don't think they're winning. I think you still...
No, because I still buy stuff from them. Like they want to keep you happy. Like once in a while, if you
Yeah.
return something within their conditions, they don't care because they can get it either refurbished or refactory sealed, or it's still sealed, and they can still resell it. They're fine with that. It's then when you do that too much, they start to get like, you're doing this a little too much. You might want to like stores usually, like I've heard that retail stores, if you return stuff too often, you get like put on a list where like they tell you can't return stuff anymore for a while.
Cool.
Because they say you're abusing it or something.
Yeah, there's a limit to
So
the
maybe
niceness.
Amazon, like at some point, it's like, all right, stop returning all these PlayStation TVs.
This
Like,
kind of...
This is your 10th one. Make up your mind. Do you want it or not?
This discussion really leads well into our next news story. Xbox Live's rewards has been around for a while, I think almost a year now.
Yeah, I think I've signed up to it and I have 0 points.
You have 0 points. They announced this week that you can get $15 back on every game you pre-order from the Microsoft Store. $15 for a $60 game.
Yeah. Too bad it's too late for me to pre-order Forza Horizon 2.
Yeah, would you as an Xbox Live reward member?
I mean, considering, I already have it because of the review or whatever. But yeah, if I didn't have it through that, then sure, like I knew, I'd know that was a game that I was going to continue playing or whatever. So
I appreciate you saying.
But it's still it's weird because it works both ways, right? Because like it's still encouraging pre-orders is not exactly a good thing.
That's what I want to talk about. Is like that is the ultimate pre-order incentive is $15 of money. That's like
how I wonder how hard it is to get that money though, because like rebates, it's like all this filling out forms.
So
and
I can talk a little bit to that. Basically, it's a lot like the digital deluxe thing that Nintendo does. It's like you have to work up to a certain amount to get that money back. Basically, you work up a certain amount of points to get actual money. And you can only do it for 3 games. It's up to 3 games. So if you try to Damiani it and get 4 games, they're going to say, no, we've been nice enough with our first 3. On the 4th, you don't get any money back on that. I think you still get more points and everything. But anyway, it is that. That's the whole system. It's not like filling out rebates. It's simpler than that. It's not that complicated. But I guess I wanted to ask you all as video game reviewers if that kind of thing frustrates you. This, hey, put money on our game right now, buy our game before you know how good or bad it is. How do you feel about that, Brandon? You're shrugging his shoulders if you're just listening. He's cool.
Well, when it comes from the console directly, and it's them like, we're selling the console here. Like, we want you to invest in this console instead of other consoles. And we're willing to give you a lot of money back. I mean, $45 max. I don't know, remind me why pre-orders are negative? Why we should be really mad about pre-orders?
Because you don't know how a game's going to turn out until you read the review by Brandon Jones.
That's why a pre-order could suck, but why are we mad at it? Like, why when someone sets up pre-orders or encourages you, why are we like, hey, guy trying to make money on your game, what's up? It's like, I don't know, the behavior is predictable. It's something that's only going to benefit them. So yeah, I don't know where the rage comes from. Where's the fire?
I'm asking if it's dangerous. Do you think it's a dangerous thing?
Again, I don't know why it would be.
So clearly, yeah, you're not frustrated at all, which I think is a nice balanced perspective.
Come back to me in 5 minutes. Maybe somebody else will bring up a point, and I'm like, oh, that's why.
Damian, are you mad no one's going to read your review because they already bought the game?
I mean, if people are going to buy a game anyway, they're not going to read any review.
That's not true.
But they might not. I mean,
they might read it after because it's part of like the celebration of the game, as I call it. Like some fans don't give a shit what you get to put in your review. They just want to read the reviews because it's like part of like the big release day thing. The embargo's up. Let's start arguing about the scores and stuff because I'm a fanboy and I want to defend my series and stuff and have participate in the jolly good fun of irrationally arguing with other people on the internet.
Right.
But to your point, I don't know.
There's some rational arguments out there.
There are rational
Absolutely.
arguments. I'm just overgeneralizing.
Especially on GameTrailers.com.
Yes. /forums. No, I mean, I don't.
That URL, but okay.
Are you trying to ask if we didn't get games sent to us, if this was the only I guess I'm just confused. How does it?
Honestly, I think you're stupid if you're not taking advantage of this.
Yeah,
right. That's $15 is so much money.
So the difference is, I think what they're trying to encourage, because this is digital only, correct?
No, this is retail only.
Oh, it's retail
It's boxes only from the Microsoft Store.
Oh, from the Microsoft Store from them.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was going to be digital only because then they were trying to curb used game sales where they don't get any of the money, and they're trying to make it, here's incentive. We give you $15 of imaginary money on your Xbox account, which just makes you buy more of our games.
Right.
And you get an imaginary discount of $15 to get this game, but then you can't trade it in because it's a digital copy, and we're not losing money. We're not losing out to used sales.
No, you can trade these games in wherever.
But it's only from the Microsoft Store.
Yeah,
so then they can
obviously
still trade
they
it
like you using your Microsoft Store though. The Microsoft Store, they love that.
I mean, I don't get the store thing because they always need distributors. So the stores is direct sales to them, but at the same time they're still shipping out games that distributors have purchased from them, which is probably the bulk of the money they make off game sales, period. I wonder if it's just they're trying to establish if they could cut out that at some point in the future, but by that point there won't be physical retail, so that whole discussion is just weird to me. But in terms of reviews, let me get this clear. You are saying this de-emphasizes watching or reading any other people's reviews because they're making the barrier of cost or entry so low or lower because of the discount.
Right. It becomes too good of a deal to say no to. You should probably just buy that game.
But what happens? So up to what point can you pre-order and still get that thing? When's the cutoff where you're gonna have to pay $60?
I mean, you could probably do it the day before. I bet you can absolutely do that.
I mean, I don't really see this impacting reviews at all anymore. Minuscule.
Yeah.
I don't see it really doing anything else. People are still going to want to watch and read reviews for the sake of argument, at the very least.
What was the last time there was a game that you had your mind made up on that changed because of the way reviews were for it?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I know the answer to that question. I have to think about it.
Because I think that is. I feel like most
but
of
I
the
mean,
time.
I have the advantage of playing these games before they come out, long in advance.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think one of the things that's always bugged me with pre-orders is, maybe specific to GameStop or whatever, where You walk into a store and they treat you like an idiot for wanting to buy a game on the day it came out and not having pre-ordered it. Like that's probably the biggest thing I have against pre-orders.
Yeah.
Is like you didn't order more copies of the game. You saw that like this game is coming out and it's popular, and it's like, oh well, we just got enough to fill pre-orders. I mean, like other people are going to want to buy the game when they hear how good it is. Like, we don't want to wait another week or whatever.
Yeah.
And especially because like half the time I can just walk to this like another store next door and just pick it up off the shelf.
Yeah, you can say it's at Target. Target has this. Yeah.
Thinking back, I mean, I totally agree with Daniel. That's why I don't really go to GameStop anymore, because I got tired of being like kind of talked down to. I know it's their job, but it's like I can go somewhere else. Like I don't need to deal with this. However, like it feels like my biggest issue with pre-orders is like I never had an issue with them in the past at all, because it used to think that, I don't know how true it was because I was young and a kid, you believed that a game would be so popular and hot it would sell out. And if you weren't on that pre-order list, you weren't getting that game.
Well, it's definitely
the
true
day.
for like the N64.
Yeah, like
stuff,
like N64 stuff. They'd be like stories of these games are sold out. Like Star Fox 64 sold out. Ocarina of Time sold out.
But it was the same kind of thing though. It was really funny for me because like I had a pre-order at like Toys R Us, right?
Oh yeah.
And they told me, like once it started getting close, they told me it's like, yeah, actually, we're not going to be getting them until you're on the list for like 2 weeks after it comes out or something.
What game
like
was
that.
this? Do you remember what game it
This
is?
is the N64 with like Super Mario 64.
Oh,
Like
that
the
would
actual
break my
system.
And you know what we
Yeah,
did?
they did this.
We went across the street to Walmart and bought it.
Oh, nice.
And canceled the pre-order.
I remember that. I mean, I was a kid, but my parents were like, "You're gonna get one, but for Christmas," but they wanted to get it ahead of time. And I remember saying, like, they told me like it came out. What was it, like September 26th?
Yeah.
Gosh, can't believe I remember that.
It's pretty cool.
And they didn't get it till like mid-October because they didn't go and try and get one. They wanted to get through Toys R Us as well, and they had to get on like the secondary list and wait for the next line of shipments. But that for pre-orders were like, you want to make sure you get this game on release day. There were no digital releases back then. It's like, this is it, the physical copies, and if you don't get one, you're waiting like 2 weeks for the next one. Or there was that like amazing like special exclusive, like you're getting the gold Ocarina of Time. Like this is the only way you're getting it, so you're pre-ordering it. Otherwise, you're never getting this version. And it's felt something like meaningful and
worked.
worthwhile.
Yeah.
So now it feels like pre-orders are fine, but like they're not going to sell out unless it's like only something that's not going to be sold digitally, and it's a more obscure niche title that you really need to get on at the beginning, or else it's going to sell for like 4 times the value in a month. And the pre-order bonuses more and more feel like they're just like superficial weapons, costumes. Like there's nothing special about like the physical stuff unless it's like those nice expensive collector's editions. In which case,
$15 we're talking about right now, though. This instance, we're getting $15.
There's got to be at least
I feel like
3
it's
games
gonna
per
matter,
year
yeah.
that you know you're gonna.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that exists.
Doesn't matter. Like for me, it's Assassin's Creed Unity
Yeah.
because like I've played enough Assassin's Creed games to know that like they would have to screw up monumentally, even 3, and everybody was like dumping all over 3, and I'm like, this was well worth the purchasing price.
And they're willing to give you $15 for pre-ordering that game.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not do that?
Yeah.
how good is the Microsoft Store on shipping to get it there like on release day?
Fantastic question. They're not probably
It's like
Amazon.
Amazon gets it there.
Yeah.
You go midnight release of your store for something. That would be the only other thing. Like if you want to play it immediately, maybe you just don't want to wait
Yeah,
for that.
I mean, and honestly, that's one of the other reasons that I don't really pre-order that much anymore is because I know places here locally where, if I do want to get a game on release day, sometimes I can get it before midnight. So, big deal.
Hey, let's be cool about that. Let's not get specific about that.
We're not gonna get specific about it, but I'm just saying it's like, yeah. That exists. When you live in a big city, that exists, I think, in most big cities.
Yeah,
The
no,
blockbuster
but
and
oh
the
man, I
brand.
hate seeing that when someone has a broken street date game and they're like tweeting about it. I'm just like, don't. That's so mean. That's so mean.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's harsh. Especially like on like, I feel like when like a new Street Fighter comes out, it's like, look, we got the new Street Fighter. It's like, hey, come on. No one else has that. You can't be learning moves right now. My other question for this was, do you think we give Nintendo enough credit for the Digital Deluxe promotion?
I give them no credit. I forgot about that program
Me
after
too.
I bought it.
So I totally forgot about it too until this story, and I was looking back at it. I have a lot of money saved up from this. If you got the deluxe edition of the Wii U, the black one,
Yeah.
there's a promotion ongoing right now, any money you spend on the store, 10% comes back. Again, you have to it comes in chunks. You have to spend a certain chunk, and then you get $5 basically, and it's 10%. So you spend 50, you get 5. That is correct. I have too much. I'm not even going to say how much money I have saved up. I spent a lot of money on that store. But I have cash to spend on more Nintendo games just from buying Nintendo games. I don't think they promoted this well. I don't think that this was people don't know about it. Blood, you probably have points saved up that you're not aware of.
Yeah, I'll have to look.
You should look. Go to that website. Just Google Digital Deluxe. Damiani's shaking your head. You don't like
The
this
only thing
thing?
you care about is the Club Nintendo coins.
But this is actual money.
I stopped caring about that a while ago.
But
This is actual
do you see
money.
what they're doing now? They're
What?
directly through them. They're doing digital pre-orders through their site, or some site where they have Smash on there, Captain Toad.
Yeah. That's through Nintendo.
But they're not doing any type of discount or anything like that. So
Right,
it's not
right,
the
right.
same, but maybe they could at some point.
You'll get that Digital Deluxe points. This actually ends, by the way, at the end of this year. I will no longer get 10% off of all my digital purchases.
That
Better
means
spend a lot of money on Nintendo stuff.
Yeah. I
Time to
should-
buy every single game, Cal.
I've already did. You know what's funny though is they gave me credit for the games I got for free from Club Nintendo or something. So I would get 5% off of or 10% off of those things that I spent $0 on, and they went for their full retail value.
Huh.
Really crazy, really crazy promotion. I don't think a lot of people are aware of it, and I think it was a uncharacteristic smart move by Nintendo that they just didn't even realize that they did right.
They have no idea when they succeed.
Yeah, exactly. They should say, hey, you get money back for every game you buy on the Wii U. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that. And maybe they don't want you to know. Maybe they don't want to give Bloodworth his $5. That might be the
Well,
case.
of course, yeah. Yeah, you want to sell people on the system through that.
Talk
and
about
let
it
them forget
until
about
it's
it,
actually
yeah.
implemented, and then stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to give
too
people
late
free
now.
money. Who
Yeah.
wants to do that?
What if on January 1st they make a big sad announcement of just well, you had this opportunity. Sorry you passed it up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it could be like, hey man, if you help me move this weekend, I'll take you out to a free steak dinner. And then
That steak dinner
the
never
steak
happens.
dinner never happens.
That's an excellent observation. That steak dinner never happens. You're so right. Speaking of steak dinners that never happened, former Factor 5 president has revealed some huge canceled projects. He was on a couple of podcasts, one on IGN, one on I think a Nintendo website. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Revealed some Star Wars games that were canceled.
Yeah.
Biggest-
Well, it was a compilation of the 2 that were on GameCube.
Yeah.
With some-
Well, that was the biggest one.
Yeah.
They tried for an Xbox 360 launch game that was going to be an X-Wing versus TIE Fighter game. And Microsoft said, no, we don't think this is a good launch game.
No, that was Lucas. Lucas was the one.
LucasArts said this isn't a good launch
Lucas
game?
were hesitant about putting out a launch game
Oh, I
because of
see.
low install base.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Because that is hard. And most of their problems were kind of tied to LucasArts, really.
Yeah,
Factor
well,
5 had.
it was LucasArts was the Star Wars ones, and then there were 2 other games. Right, there was a Superman game,
An open world Superman
and
game.
what was the other one?
The other one was called Fly You.
Oh, right. The Pilot Wings-ish
Yeah.
thing. The people had actually reported
You
on a lot.
Fly.
There were rumors about that for a long time.
Yeah.
But those basically, publishers went out of business, and they had already lost a lot of money from Lair, and eventually, that many failed projects in a row with no money led to the end of Factor 5.
And what it was the Rogue Squadron games, Rogue Leader games. Which one is it? Is it Rogue
Squadron is
Rogue
the
Leader,
franchise.
and then
Rogue Leader was the second one.
You can't do that. Yeah, that's so frustrating to me. It was basically those games, but also lightsaber battles using Wii Motion Plus.
Which admittedly did not look good in that trailer.
So that's what I want to ask you: is do you think this would have been a big success, or is this just kind of a thing that maybe it's best that it didn't get picked up?
Considering where the Wii was at the time it would have come out, it probably would have been a big success.
Probably would have come out in 2008, I think.
Yeah, it probably would have been
Huge.
I mean, maybe not amongst hardcore gamers or anything, but it probably would have sold really well.
I'm sorry, I didn't even mention the worst part. It's finished. They finished that game. It's all done. And just never going to appear anywhere. Damiani, here's a question. So we talked about Factor 5. They had issues largely with publishers, but like their biggest thing is they lost a ton of money dealing with Lair. Do you think we avoided that this generation? Do you think we avoided the Lairs and the Hazes with this current generation of like these huge investments that are just going to bomb?
I think it's too early to say.
We're,
talking about PS4?
we're
I don't
a
know
year
if
into
it's
the
that-
generation.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that early to say.
I mean, it seems like so far everything on PlayStation 4 has sold pretty well. Like I thought, I was really surprised that every single, like Infamous sold really well. It seems like everything.
Watch Dogs
sold
ridiculously, yeah.
ridiculously well. I mean, I have a feeling that for some reason, despite us not being that interested, Little Big Planet 3 is going to somehow sell well too. I don't know how, but it probably is.
It always seems to, yeah.
Just because PlayStation 4
But at the
is
same
so-
time, that's not the giant,
Yeah.
hyped, big investment we're talking about.
Yeah,
either.
so I'm trying to
Little
think-
Big Planet somehow did bomb.
like, I mean, I don't know. What would you say would be like the ones coming out this fall?
No,
Like,
'cause
what would you argue?
I would say we have avoided that. It does seem like we
Yeah, like I
avoided
guess I'm
those
not. Yeah, I'm not like
situations.
thinking of one. so
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
think
I'd
I
say
found
the
one there.
closest is Titanfall probably didn't do as well as they thought, but it didn't
Sure.
bomb.
It was
It-
like
It wasn't
yeah.
Haze.
Yeah,
Right.
nothing's been
Yeah.
like that yet. I don't know. I feel like
It
maybe
also,
next year we'll
yeah,
see it.
I mean,
Oh.
even though there are detractors for Titanfall, it wasn't an awful game.
Sunset
either.
Overdrive.
Whoa, whoa, hey. No way. You think Sunset Overdrive is going to be a lair?
Could be, but I think there's this, that system. I think people want games.
There's
They're
potential for that game to flop, I think.
I mean,
but
on
we'll
the
see.
PS3, people wanted games. I think, that same thing existed there back then. It's just,
Sunset Overdrive.
wow. You heard it here.
I mean,
Master
people that
Halo,
have,
Master
like
Chief
people that have
Collection
played
will
Sunset
sell more.
Overdrive have enjoyed it, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what the hype meter looks like right now in terms of the general public.
The Master Chief Collection.
so you're
will
down
sell
on Sunset Overdrive too?
I'm not really that down on it, but
He's a little
I
down.
think I think it has the potential to be put out there, and if the review scores are kind of all over the place, like a lot of the games this season have been, that people could maybe back off from it.
I feel like, Brandon,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like we're in a situation where those big failures don't happen anymore. Is that crazy?
I would say they don't happen anymore, but maybe we dodged a bullet this console gen. That you saw something.
So you think it could still happen?
Well, I mean, you look at Kinect. It's like in order for something like that to happen, they would have had to have been like a huge Kinect thing. Because one of the big problems with Lair was the 6-axis control, and like there are all these weird. I don't know. I think there's just a lot of weird things that they had to contend with before that launched. Where none of the launch games we saw were under some weird, like brand new thing where like, oh, we're trying something we've never done before. Like a lot of them were sequels. Like a lot of them were done by studios that really knew what they were doing. So there just wasn't anything. There wasn't anything untested or something that hinged on this brand new technology or some new device that you had to use or something like.
That's a fair point.
Kinect would have been that if there was like some big Kinect game they were pushing at launch that like the whole launch depended on it.
No, I mean, if we go straight back to Lair, that is what happened with Lair. They forced motion controls into it.
But I don't know if that's why Lair was so bad. But
It
was a-
wasn't. Yeah,
because
I
the
mean,
story
I
in Lair
remember,
was
like,
also really stupid and the
Yeah,
areas
that's
were
the
kind of boring.
thing.
and-
Like I remember, because I had already been playing so much on the Wii at the time when it finally came out, which the delays were a big part of killing the hype on that game. That I personally, I didn't have a lot of issues with the motion controls, but Shane had a lot of issues, so he wanted to make sure that got into the review. But
ran under the bus.
yeah. But I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like I had more issues with the other elements of the game design than I had with the motion controls. It's like motion controls, okay, they're not perfect, but this other stuff, yeah, this is more of a problem. to me.
Keep going on that, because what this person mentioned was, he said they felt it was like too big. It was probably
Too ambitious, yeah.
they're too ambitious for a launch title. Do you think the same, or do you think you were never going to get this right?
I think that probably is it. I mean, figuring out the PS3 was difficult for a lot of publishers, and I mean, we saw that in cross-platform games. How many times that like people just kind of didn't seem to be able to get as much out of the PS3 as the 360 for a couple of years at least, and then some publishers never seemed to actually get it right at all. But yeah.
You didn't quite answer my question, Blood.
Okay.
Do you think, given more time, Lair would have been a good game?
I think if they had maybe started that project later or had a smaller project first to get accustomed to what they were working with.
Then later could have worked out.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, from when they had started that until it came out, like giving them more time may not have exactly helped that. Because that thing was like so ballooned in terms of budget and everything. I mean, that's why it was such a huge, part of their demise, is because they had spent so much money on hiring people and everything.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. Like reading what came out of the talk up from the podcast was terrifying, in that just like when a developer is self-funding a game, that's so scary. When publishers like pull support or go out of business, and a developer is just making this game, and they finish it and they say, here it is, anyone please publish this, and no one says yes. That's the scariest thing in the world. Damiani, do you think we'll ever see this game? Like we've seen Star Fox 2, you know what I mean? It's out there. Will this game ever become available?
Oh, unofficially?
Yes.
Potentially. I think just because of how, especially if there's a way to put it on like the Wii version out there, because of like how hacked the Wii was to death.
Yeah.
You don't need like a physical copy. It's really
Well,
easy
they
to
said
run.
Lucas came and got the assets, and now Disney's got Lucas. I
You're
mean,
not gonna hack Disney, man.
Yeah.
I mean, someone held on to a copy of it somehow.
I bet that has happened. I bet
They had a
somebody-
copy
yeah.
of the trailer. That doesn't mean they had a copy of the game.
No, somebody's got to like.
They
you know
have
what
like
I
a
mean?
maybe
Once
a demo
LucasArts
of it.
comes and starts taking things away, one person is like, okay. And
If
this
any
one's
kind of
for me.
playable version of that existed on a disc, there's a chance.
Yeah. If I was
But-
developing this game, and I'm proud of it, it's finished. I'm sour that nobody bought it, and then LucasArts starts waltzing in and taking my computers away. I'm keeping a disc.
It's just, do you want to, like, I guess the question is, how anonymous are you at that point? Because if everyone
I'm very
knew,
anonymous.
If everyone knew who had access to those like discs at that point, and you were like, it was like a very small cluster of people, it'd be easy to figure out, and you'd be risking like your career being blacklisted from other developers.
Yeah, I
so
hear that. I
if
think-
you were like some low-level QA person who happened to like snag a copy and like you quit the next week and no one knew, everyone suspected you, but they just didn't give a crap because like, oh, this game's coming out, whatever, it was a demo, like what are they going to do with it?
That never
10
happens.
years later, the game is out. It's like, what's up?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it takes a certain amount of years.
Yeah, like how did Star Fox 2? Like people, like the prototype, like they got access and like the Sonic 2 prototypes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like people swiped those, or
Yeah.
employees unofficially like left the company and took a copy and like dodged, or never worked in the industry again. They just like, I don't want to work in games anymore. Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'll contribute to freedom of information and stuff. Like fans want to see this.
Yeah, I think it takes years. I think you're done with that part of your life. Because like if Star Fox 2 leaked while Star Fox 64 was out, that would be outrageous.
Oh, the actual game?
Yeah. But it just time heals all wounds.
I also don't believe it was 100% finished.
Sure.
That's
fair. That's
I
fair.
think it was finished to the point where there wasn't anything conceptually left to figure out about the game. They just needed to build the rest of it.
Yeah.
I imagine, like, from what I know about game development, actual game development, I would assume you get to that point where it's like, because
But they were just tacking on a few extra features to a compilation of 2 games that had already been released. So
right.
saying I don't think it's a real stretch to say it was.
But there's
finished.
also the Star Wars versus the TIE Fighter game. That was gonna be a launch.
They didn't
game.
say that was.
Oh
finished.
yeah. That one was not nearly finished.
Oh,
That
okay.
one
I thought that's what
burned
you meant.
quickly. Yeah, that one. Man, that would have been great though.
I guess the dream of Factor 5 working on Wii U would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Because that
well, I mean,
company
Rogue
pushed-
Leader looks
that
amazing
game,
still.
yeah, they knew. I think they knew more about like Nintendo's hardware than Nintendo at some points. Like,
Absolutely.
they pushed that system beyond what should have been possible.
Yeah.
You should go back and check out some of the like their music impression and stuff that they did for like even the Game Boy was just like mind blowing. Like, what are you doing?
No, what
How
do
did
mean?
you get this out?
Be
of-
specific.
Oh, they were just like really great programmers, and so like they were able to get like a lot of oomph out of the Game Boy and the N64, especially in terms of musical compression and the kinds of things that you wouldn't have thought was even possible on those systems.
Cool. Rogue Leader is the reason I got a GameCube. That game.
Wow.
Yeah. Just you saw the X-wing on the Death Star in Target, and you were like, whoa.
Yeah. Well,
What?
and that's the other thing too. Like they had, I think their like video compression. I think they had some custom stuff going on there, and that's why you had all that behind the scenes stuff in Rogue Leader, like all of those documentaries.
Man.
You would like shoot lasers down
No,
the
it
trench,
wasn't
and then the
documentaries,
red
it was
lasers would like
it was
light
the
up the sides of
commentary.
the trench
It was
red.
the audio commentary.
Yeah, they had audio commentary.
yeah.
I don't remember any videos in particular. Yeah, lighting on the lasers.
Yeah, I just remember
Oh my gosh.
laser lighting in that game was like, whoa, and stuff just, glorious triangles. All the turrets on the Death Star would explode and just like 800
Well,
triangles.
they were using cell shading for some of the like alternate modes and stuff in terms of spotting enemies and yeah.
Oh, and you would flip down your visor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that was cool. If you watch the trailer though, I'm not too burnt because some of it looks super janky. Like the lightsaber duels, like
Yeah, the stuff that they added did not really look that great. I mean, maybe some of the speeder races, but I always feel like speeder races are kind of a lost cause. Like the speed at which you would have to go to look like the movie, you just wouldn't be able to react.
yeah, you go down a hallway.
Yeah.
You're just smashing the trees the whole time.
We're not Jedi. We can't really do it.
I don't know. That stage in Shadows of the Empire on the speeder bike.
Yeah.
You go pretty fast, and it's
Yeah.
like, good luck.
Clunk, clunk,
Have a good
yeah.
time.
Our final news story this week. We don't often talk about sales in Japan, but this week, cause to. The new 3DS was released. Sold 230,000 new 3DSs and new 3DS XLs in its opening weekend. So basically, that is just a little less than when the 3DS XL, the old one, was released. So does that match your expectations? Do you think that's a good number or a bad number?
In Japan, I think that's good.
230,000. I mean, in the U.S., that's a pretty good number for a
First week, yeah.
for a first week. That's pretty cool. But it is, it's much less than the debut of the 3DS. It's
I mean, it's an iterative product, so I mean, you're mostly getting people that are upgrading from what they already have.
To me, that number makes it clear it's not a new system, and like it probably won't be. Do you feel the same way, or do you feel like this can grow and then new 3DS will be a real thing?
I feel like it'll, for new sales, it will probably start to take away from the original 3DS. Like it'll just, people will shift towards the new 3DS instead.
But I mean, as far as Nintendo's future, as far as whatever their next handheld is, do you think the success of the new 3DS, or relative success, do you think that pushes that new thing further back or reels it in? Do you think that they're like, oh, whoa, we need a new handheld soon? Or do you think, oh, we're good, we don't need our new handheld for a while?
I just think this is just like part of the normal cycle. I mean, it's kind of gone along these lines for a while. You had the Game Boy Color, you had the Game Boy Micro, you had the, GBA SP. Well, that was before the Micro. So it's, it's just kind of maintaining sort of that hardware interest and keeping things going. And of course, putting it out with Monster Hunter is just kind of obvious because Monster Hunter is huge in Japan.
Yeah, that is worth mentioning because Monster Hunter 4G sold 1.6 million last week in Japan. That's a crazy number. One of them was a bundle, and so the breakdown of new 3DS XL to new 3DS was almost 3-to-1. So the whole changing plates you can only do on the little one, that one sold much, much less than the 3DS XL because the 3DS XL came bundled with Monster Hunter 4G.
Which has that Metroid skin, right? Can you be Samus in
Oh, you
Monster
can.
Hunter?
Yeah, they've got
Pretty
Samus, they've got Link, they've got Mega Man. Anything else that I'm forgetting?
That they had Sonic.
Sonic.
Don't forget Sonic. I'm so mad that's the takeaway. When you think of that game, the first thing you thought of was like Zero Suit Samus with her butt toward you holding the big gun. Me too. Like that's what Monster Hunter is right now. Dang. Basically, yeah, maybe Monster Hunter 4G is worth talking about. This is like, it's not Monster Hunter 5. It's not a big sequel. It's Monster Hunter 4G. Still sold 1.6 million. Damiani makes fun of Capcom all the time. He says they're out of money. Here we see Capcom's clearly making money right now on Monster Hunter. What's the deal with Monster Hunter? Why is that still selling so well?
Because it's super popular in Japan.
Why is it super popular in Japan?
I have no clue.
That is a good question.
No clue.
I
know it's like a lot about local multiplayer and playing with your friends. I mean, that's what that whole template is built on. But otherwise, yeah, I've only dabbled in Monster Hunter. I've never fully grasped why people like it so much.
I mean, yeah, it has good for the ones that do have online. It's had pretty good online functionality, and people seem to have really a lot of fun playing it. It's about 4-player co-op killing giant monsters and like harvesting their parts to build weapons. So,
Like Destiny. Like this is what we just do in Destiny
yeah.
all day. It is actually kind of similar appeal.
it's very
it kind of
similar,
has, it's very basic in that regards, and it's like one of the earlier games to do that and have that appeal. And I think a lot of games have like since built off that and done their own thing. But it was like one of the first, so people tend to like go back to the original one. And for whatever reason, like it's huge in Japan. It came out of nowhere and became like, as popular as like, not as popular, but like it's mentioned in the same breath as like Dragon Quest over there. Even though Dragon Quest decimates in sales, like the next one's like, oh, Monster Hunter's coming out, guaranteed million sales. Like that's like when it comes out of Japan, it's like big. Whatever system gets Monster Hunter, you're gonna get sales. Like congratulations, you just like scored a big deal. That's why like when they announced like when they had Iwata at that event where they announced the exclusivity or whatever, it's like why is Iwata here or whatever? Like it's just like huge and stuff. Like
what is the exclusivity deal? I didn't hear about this.
no, and the Monster Hunter 3 or not much. Try went to Wii.
Oh, okay.
And everyone's
So
like, what? Monster Hunter's going to Nintendo now?
Yeah.
And then like after that it was like the Dragon Quest thing with Dragon Quest 9.
I don't think that yeah, I mean that's the thing. We haven't seen much in terms of them pushing console Monster Hunter because it still seems to be more of a portable
I
thing.
think it's because console sales over there have
Yeah.
been like dwindling and the money's all in the portables.
But that's what I'm saying is Monster Hunter hasn't been saving consoles in any
No,
way.
I mean it's on Wii U, and you clearly didn't help.
Well,
it
they
that
made the
much.
HD ones on PS3. Like
Yeah.
which
No, I
one was
mean
it?
they're HD versions of these portable games. They have not made
Oh,
a
yeah.
Monster Hunter in a long time. That's like, let's just make a console Monster Hunter. Let's make this look as great as possible. Let's see what we can do. We can make a huge
Easier.
world with huger monsters. They're like, no, we're making portable
Easier
games.
development.
It's
lower
kind of
cost.
like, it's honestly a lot like Pokemon. It's like this game works best as a portable game.
Oh, don't get me started on Pokemon.
Okay, I'm sorry for
That quote that just came out from them in that Game Informer interview.
All right.
Now we got him started on Pokemon.
I
we don't
know
even know
that people get angry when we talk about Pokemon on this show. We do it too often, but I got to know what quote you're talking about.
The reason why they won't ever release the older games on Virtual Console is because they're not in the business of releasing their old games. They like to reimagine them and re-release them, like with these updates. They basically do not want to release the older games as is.
Yeah, I get that actually. I honestly totally get that.
It's like Star Wars.
They don't like free money.
They're George Lucas's.
Nintendo doesn't get it. They don't like free money.
But that free money would diminish the brand they have now, and
that
basically.
doesn't.
No.
No,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Twitch plays Pokemon.
You
No.
don't diminish Super Mario
No.
Galaxy because you put out Super Mario Brothers 3. I mean, come on.
So basically, they want every time you catch a Pikachu, like they want you to keep that Pikachu moving forward. They don't want you to catch a Pikachu in an old game that he's trapped
Talk
into.
about the stupid Alpha and Omega like the compatibility controversy going on, where they originally said that some of the stuff in X and Y would not be compatible, and then the quote they just said was like, we want to re-release older versions so they're compatible with the existing mainline entry to keep players having their collection be valid.
Right, they
throughout.
don't want you catching.
But then
Pikachu
they
in
said
blue,
something
so-
earlier that like completely contradicted that. So they just do whatever was gonna make them like money. But then at the same time they make decisions that don't want to make them money. Like they're so bipolar. over
I think
everything.
I think they're really smart about not putting those games on Virtual Console.
No, they're not.
I know we
They're
want. I know we
completely-
want them, but
All they have to do is just add a little net code to like
you know
red
what
and
sucks
blue.
though? You know what sucks about this is batteries are dying. Batteries and cartridges are dying, and
Yeah, like Silver we tried to use for Pop Fiction had a dead battery. I had
Yeah.
to like keep it on the whole time.
that's
like,
what sucks is because now there will become a time where people cannot play that version of Silver.
Oh no! Once the batteries run out, like
Well, you can replace
you can always
batteries.
replace the batteries, but like not everyone does that. Like
Right.
people are lazy or just like intimidated by that.
Okay, you got me on board. I'm mad too, but we got to stop talking about Pokemon.
Okay.
Look at Brandon; he's already frustrated.
I just can't. No, I'm fine. I just can't join. I just can't. Still not buying a Wii U. Not gonna get a new
Not after that
3DS.
attitude?
All right.
So I'm good. You know, you
RE7
can,
Wii exclusive.
I'll always show up.
I feel
You
really
know,
good about our
always,
panel this week. I feel really good about our diverse opinions this week.
Including my choice to not have some.
Yeah, and
sometimes.
that's the absence of opinions sometimes is an opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Silence.
Like for you to come out and say like, yeah, I don't care if they're offering $15. Like, yeah, that's a strong statement. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you, Kyle.
It's easy to be like, no, this sucks. Pre-orders are stupid. But you're just like, some games
Not
you know.
caring the way I do, very difficult. Takes commitment to not commit.
Oh gosh.
All right, let's wrap up our show. We have a bet for next week. The Legend of Korra, the video game, is releasing next week. Are you aware of that?
Mike is aware of that.
Okay,
yeah.
he nods.
I'm aware of that.
For listeners, Mike Damiani is nodding.
Yeah.
I've not asked this one yet. This is a really tricky one. How long will the credits be? The
Now,
closing credits of the game.
Is this everything?
Good question.
Because
How do you mean by everything?
Example, South Park does the traditional TV credits at the end, like the exact length, and then they go to a game version of the credits, like where they do the game developers.
That's what I want to ask, because I feel the entirety of the credits.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say the entirety.
Okay. Got it.
So, Blood, I think you get to decide to go first or last this week.
I don't get to go last a lot. I'll do last.
Okay. Brandon.
6 minutes.
6 minutes for Brandon. I'm going with 10 minutes, 41 seconds.
This isn't Ubisoft.
It's a lot of,
Activision.
because they do. You're right. They have to handle TV credits.
It's gonna have,
and they
so
have
you're
to
gonna have
handle,
like the TV crew credits.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be in the end of the core, which is like going across the lake to Republic City. So you're gonna have that. That's like about like 30 seconds long.
That's not gonna be 30 seconds.
Like the TV credits.
Okay.
Like, you know,
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
and
yeah.
Brian get in their credits.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna do the Activision credits.
Yep.
Which are gonna probably be at
a
least
lot
like
of
3 to 4
producers.
minutes.
Yeah, a lot of producers.
Then you're gonna get the Nickelodeon credits,
Mm-hmm.
like the regular Nickelodeon studios or whatever. Then you get the Viacom credits.
Mm-hmm. Lots of presidents, lots of producers.
7 minutes. I can't do 7.8 minutes. Actually, I can because I just have to figure out what 0.8
Oh my
of a
gosh.
minute is.
8:20.
Yeah, so it'd be 8 minutes, 20 seconds.
No, 7
No, it'd be-
minutes. 7 minutes and then 0.8
Yeah,
of
so
a
it'd be
minute.
80% of a minute. So,
So
Oh,
it's
80%
more than
of a
45. It's
45 or
something
something.
above 7 minutes and
48?
45 seconds.
No,
So
that could be wrong.
7 minutes and 50 seconds.
You're killing me today.
Wow.
All right, Blood, and you have gotten to go last. So what is your
Yeah, I'll kind of go in between. I'll do 7.
flat 7? Okay, my gosh, that was a fun bet. Let's lock those in. Okay, and so let's talk about last week's bet. We bet on the launch trailer for Borderlands, the pre-sequel. How long would that be?
that was a fun one, actually. I think that's going to be on the episode this weekend of Let's All Go to the
Fun
Trailers.
launch trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Gonna
make a
watch it
little
at
launch
Moon Wizards joke, which, you know. Thank you for making the comparison. We're all going to. It's good you're aware of it. The total runtime was 2 minutes and 17 seconds. That means that we get to see a rare sight, a Brandon Jones victory, who guessed 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Right in your wheelhouse. You
Yeah,
nailed that
thanks.
one.
Yeah, I'm happy about it. Ending credits I can lose, but a trailer time is rough. 2:30 is a general. I should have bet 2:15 actually, because it's getting closer to 2:15. But 2:30, anything past 2. If you're ever editing anything and you hit that 2 minute mark, reevaluate what you're doing. Wrap it up. You know, it's like that's when
Isn't
you
that
kind
sad?
of like, okay.
I guess
No,
not
it's
for
just-
a trailer. For a trailer, you really got to
It's
be
just,
like,
yeah, it's a pitch. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like hey, stop what you're doing. I got to tell you something. It's like you got 2 minutes. You know, and then I'm gonna go off to the entertainment that I actually want to see. But if like
Right.
you're telling me about entertainment that I can't experience right now, 2 minutes.
cool.
Anything past that's like, well, we're making a documentary. This is part 1 of, you know, going to Karat or designing Alien Isolation, or you know, then it's like, okay, I'll dig in for that. You can make those 5, 6.
I think Blood's bet was 2 minutes.
No,
Maybe that was Damiani's.
I mean, it's like 3:02 or something.
Oh, okay. The point total. Sorry. No, Brandon, you're at 4 points.
Yeah,
I'm at
Nice.
6. Damiani.
I'm actually like getting close to someone.
You're 2 points away from me. You're 2 weeks away.
Wow.
It's so close. And Bloodworth still standing tall at 10 points.
Standing tall just because he has 10 points.
When I have 10 points,
I mean,
I'm going to stand
not
the tallest.
slouch right now. There
Yeah,
you
all
go.
right. Okay, cool. So, Brennan, you have won the right to plug any video and also close out the show.
I will plug the same video I plugged last week because it didn't actually exist when I plugged it last week. But Let's All Go to the Trailers is back. It's our weekly trailer podcast starring these two jokers, and brought them back to record that. We'll be doing it again this weekend. If I'm not allowed to do the next one, I recommend seeing this weekend's episode of Mandatory Update because stuff happens.
You're plugging two
Annoying.
videos again.
Because I already plugged that video, so that's kind of unfair. I actually plugged 2 videos last time too.
Yeah, I know.
And I think when I previously won, I actually did plug Let's Go, but it didn't go up that weekend. And so I think we might have
True.
cut it out or something. So
Okay.
maybe I haven't plugged that show.
All right.
This doesn't happen often. I'm going to milk it as
I'll
much
give
as
you
I
those 2
possibly
plugs.
can.
You got 2
You've been talking
plugs.
for like 50 minutes, man. Yeesh. These are, wait, this goes this like that? The Twitter? That way?
Starts at Damiani.
That way. There it happened.
Japanese, right to left.
That's how you can reach all of us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. And thank you for coming to GameShows.com to watch our video. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, Kyle, for hosting. GT time.
I love
What's in your mug, Damiani?
Do.
It's so funny. I could tell what he was singing, but it still was hilarious when he brought it out.
So for anyone who listens, that was Damiani singing the Metroid theme, which is a really hard song to sing. And he's got what appears to be a little baby Metroid.
Yep.
It's plastic, though. It's
is
cool.
that
It's
the
not
baby Metroid?
It's actually came with the Zero Suit Samus figure
okay.
I got.
Yeah.
So it's under M technically.
Oh.
So this would be the last Metroid that dies, the baby.
So that is the baby Metroid. It's cool.
Baby.
It's cool because it is translucent like you would want a Metroid to be. We can see its
Yeah,
three
it's
brains.
it's got the Sarlacc pit part,
Yeah.
and then it's got the brain part, the giant disgusting looking brain
Yeah.
that you just want to shoot and kill.
You throw a Metroid and a head crab in the ring. Who wins?
Metroid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Metroid
was
all
quick.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah, I mean,
my
head
thought.
crabs have to jump. Metroids can just float, however that works.
And Metroids are really hard to kill. Head crabs, you just
freeze 'em.
you hit it with a crowbar, you're fine.
Yeah.
Metroids, yeah, their HP is ridiculous.
They give you a hyper beam.
No, they only did that because of Mother Brain.
They give you the hyper beam when they die and sprinkle their ashes.
Yeah,
on
it's
you.
not all they. It is the one. That is like.
Yeah,
You gotta,
it sucked it out of
Nintendo-
Mother Brain and gave it to Samus.
And
What are you talking
on
about?
Nintendo games, when you kill something and have ashes, you spread them on you, and you add a little bit of blood, and boom, superpowers.
Sucked it out of Mother Brain and gave it to Samus.
Yeah, it did the super hit. And like hit her, and it made that horrifying scream death noise.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Ian, can we add special effects there?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, you get the
have a
Metroid
charge
sound
beam.
effects.
Damiani, what's in your mug is becoming an 8-minute segment.